Hey guys, what's up? Mr. Custis, Penguin's math teacher here. Um, Introducing slope now. We've been talking a lot about proportional relationships. Now we're going to talk about slope. Very similar. Um, not gonna be a big jump this week. I think it'll be pretty easy. Just a couple of Khan Academy assignments and then another 10-question quizzes assignment. All right, so I think we can get through this pretty quick and pretty painless this week. Maybe give you guys some time to catch up on some of your old assignments if you've fallen a little bit behind. So let's talk about slope for a minute. So when I think of slope, right, I'm hearing like a hill, right? Um, maybe going skiing or snowboarding or sledding or whatever, right? Going to the slopes. Um, so the slope from a table is not where I want to be right now. Let's start up here on this one. The steepness of a hill is called a slope. All right, the same goes for the steepness of a line. Okay, so we're going to be um, looking at graphs. We're going to be finding the steepness, the slope of the line on that graph. All right. The slope is defined as the ratio, right? Ratio, another word for a fraction, of the vertical, that's the up and down amount, change between 2 points. The rise, that's the vertical amount. We call that the rise. So it's a ratio of the rise to the horizontal change. That's the left and right amount. Between the 2 points, we call that the run. All right, so we're going to have this written as a fraction. We're going to say it is rise over run. All right. You're going to see this a lot. Rise over run. Okay. So let's look at the first one here, and let's just do some example problems here. First thing you need to know, all right, if we're going to find the rise and run on this, we're going to find the steepness of this. We need to start with points on this line. Let me get a pen here. That go through a lattice point. Okay, they go through an intersection. All right. So all these points on this one here go through an intersection. So it's not really a great graph to show you, but it'll make more sense here on the next one, I promise. So we could use any of these points here to find the slope this time. All right. If you use two that are right next to each other here, it saves us from simplifying later. So that's always kind of handy. That's not going to be good, is it? Let's get that out of there. We need to draw in a couple of lines here. This is going to make a triangle. All right, we want to make some right triangles here. So I'm going to go straight to the right, straight up, and you'll notice this makes a triangle. Okay, so the part of the slope I'm finding here is this part right here. Now I want the rise over the run. All right, remember we said rise over run. So I want to see how much this triangle goes up and how much it goes over. Remember, the rise is the up and down amount. The run is the left and right amount. Okay, so rise over run. Let's do this one here. This is equals. Let's figure out how much it goes up first, because that's our rise amount. So right here, this is just 1 unit. All right, the rise here is pretty easy. That's 1. The run here also pretty easy. That's just 1 unit. Okay, so right here, the rise is 1, the run is 1. Write that as a fraction here. Okay, so 1 over 1, let's simplify that. 1 over 1 equals 1. Okay, our slope here is 1. So that's going to go down here. Our answer is 1. The slope of this line is 1. We're going to keep making these triangles, and we're going to keep counting from one point to the next on that line. So here's a little better one to find some of these lattice points. Okay, let's look at it this way. Okay, it's got to go through one of these vertical lines and through one of these horizontal lines. Okay, so this blue line here, right, our line that we're finding the slope of, right here, it goes through a horizontal line and a vertical line. So I could use this point right here. Okay, let's look at something I couldn't use. All right, this line right here, well, where it touches this line is right here. That is not on this line, and it's not on this line. Okay, so there's not a point right there I could use. All right, that's not a good one. I don't want that. Here's one I could use, right? The blue line here touches this vertical line, and it touches this horizontal line, right? It's at 2 here on the x-axis and 1 on the y-axis. So this point here would actually be a good one. Another one here I could use. All right. Here's another one I could use, right? It goes through this vertical line at positive 1. It goes through this horizontal line here at negative 1. Here's another one I could use here. Here's another one I could use here. Here's another one I could use here. All right, so those are all the points I could use here to find that graph. All right, let me take off some of these lines, simplify this graph a little bit for us. All right, now let's draw in a triangle here. I'll use these two. All right, so now let's find our rise. All right, remember rise over run. So the first one I'm going to do is the up and down amount. All right, so from here all the way up, that is 1, 2 units. All right, so we're looking at 2 over 1 here. All right, our rise over our run, 2 over 1. Let's put these in here too. 2 over 1. Now that's going to be equal to what? We simplify that. 2 divided by 1, 2 over 1 equals 2. So this time our slope is 2. All right. Let me show you another way here. If I would have gone further, right? Maybe say I missed one of these lattice points. Maybe I missed this one. All right. And I use these two. All right. Now this time here, I'm going 1, 2 units to the right. My run would have been 2. My rise, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4 units, would have been 4. So this time here, I would have had 4 over 2. All right, let's put that into the fraction. Now that is equal to, well, what's 4 divided by 2? Oh, it's still 2, right? It doesn't matter. If you don't choose the two that are closest to each other, you're still going to get the same number when you simplify. It's just going to cause you to have to simplify, all right? So just maybe a little extra work, maybe another chance for making a mistake. So I like to use the two here that are closest to each other each time. All right, here's a point we could use. Notice, right, we can't use this point because it doesn't go through a vertical line. I can't use this point because it doesn't go through a vertical line. Can't use this one or this one. I can use this point right here. Not this one, not this one. I could use this one right here. Okay, so this time I have 3 points I could use. Let's draw in my triangle. I guess I'll start from this one here and then go up to this one here. Again, it wouldn't have mattered if I use this one to this one. It's going to be the same. Let's do the rise first. The top number here, up and down, it goes up 1, 2, 3 units. It goes to the right 1 unit. All right, so that's going to be 3 over 1. A fraction, right? The rise over the run. All right, so that is equal to 3. 3 over 1 is equal to 3. All right. And again, there's really nothing else to this, right? We find the rise, we find the run. The only, maybe the hard part is finding these points, making sure they're on a vertical and a horizontal line. But I think you'll find that's pretty easy as well. All right. Here's a point we can use, another point we can use, another point we can use. But all these points, all these options here is great. All right. So let's go right 1. Let's go up 1. Well, that was easy. 1 and 1 again. That's just like the first one we did, right? So 1 over 1. Put in the line. Make that look like a fraction now. So 1 over 1 equals 1. Our slope is 1. All right, 1. I don't want to do that one. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to go to one of these because this one's a little bit different now. You'll notice this line's going a different way. I still have all these points I can use. All right. This time you might notice that as we go from left to right here, this one's going down. Okay, all those other ones were going up. All right, all those other ones are going up. So now we'll talk about that here in just a second, what that means. For the slope, it's still a rise and run the same way we've been doing it. 1 and 1, 1 over 1. Go ahead and put in the equals 1. I'm going to leave a space. Maybe you guys will figure out why I'm leaving a space. All right, so this one has a slope a little bit different. Something here we need to talk about. This one's going down. It's what we call a decreasing. I'm not sure if you've gotten there in science yet, but we'd call this a decreasing graph, okay? Because it's going down, right? We read from left to right, right? What is the slope of the line? We read from left to right. As we look at this graph from left to right, it's going down. All right, this one was going up from left to right. It was positive. It was increasing. All right, another one, positive, increasing and going up. Another one here, positive, increasing, going up. Another one, positive, increasing, going up. All right, but now here for this one here, I chose to do, we're going down, we're decreasing. Okay, if we're going down, if we're decreasing, that is a negative slope. Okay, so this one here is going to be -1 for our slope instead of +1. All right, it's still 1. We find that the exact same way, but now we got to put that negative on it. It's a decreasing graph. It's going down. Okay, I know something that's been popular in years past is what we call slope man. So I'll share that with you guys here. Slope man's got a couple of eyeballs that we like to look at. So here, this graph here, right, is going up. It's increasing. So this one here has a plus for an eyeball, right? Over here, we're going to have the negative, this other eyeball, all right? And it's going to have the decreasing eyebrow, all right? We're going to have a few other things going on here. The nose is made up of a U, and that's going to have a vertical line. It's not the best there, but that's what it is. All right, so there's our nose. Let me see if I can move that. No, maybe not. We'll leave that there. Nose is going to be a little off center. And then the smile is going to be a horizontal line. And on both sides of that, we're going to have zeros. All right, so the slope of a horizontal line here is going to be 0. This is my first digital slope man, right? Thanks to NTI 2.0. So there's our slope man, right? So positive is increasing here, negative is decreasing here. The nose is a U. That's actually stands for undefined. You're not going to need to worry about that this week. And then if you see a horizontal line, the slope is 0, right? We say that has no slope. Let's do another negative one here. All right, so let's find some more of these points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different points here that we could use. I'm going to draw on these lines. All right, so I'm going down 2. That's not a great one. It kind of blends in with that axis. I'm going to use this one here. I'm going down 2. I'm going over 1. So you could even look at this as like -2 because I'm going down 2. And this one is +1 because I'm going right 1. Or you can always just say, well, that's a decreasing one because the graph is going down as we move from left to right. And that's kind of how I like to look at it. But then it seems that sometimes students forget that to go back and put in that negative sign. All right, so -2 divided by 1 equals -2. So over this one here, our graph is -2. All right. So this is slope from graphs. I guess we could do maybe one more negative one here. All right, one more negative. I'm telling y'all, one thing I'm going to notice that you guys do for sure this week is people that put the run on top instead of the rise. Okay, so just be really careful when you're doing this. All right, the up and down amount, this -3 for this one is always the top number. All right, the rise over the run. All right, the rise over the run. All right, very important that you remember that. All right, rise over run. And you're going to hear that a lot more in high school. Okay, so on this one here, the rise was -3. The run was -1. Right. Oops, not -1. That was silly. I moved to the right one. I should put a negative there. All right, it was +1. So now let's fix this. Equals -3. All right, so our slope for this one is -3. All right, let's move on to the next one. Next up, slope from a table. All right, very similar. Just how we find the numbers is going to be slightly different. Okay, so we're not going to have a picture to look at and count. So we're actually going to have to subtract. All right, we're going to find the change in the y values because the y values are the up and down amount. Hopefully you guys remember that from your graph, right? The y-axis is the up and down amount. All right, so that's how we count up and down is with the y's, and then we count left and right, or the run with the x's. All right, so Slope from a table is just like finding the slope from a graph, but we don't have a visual to count on. So now we're going to have to subtract the y's first, right? That's the rise. And then the x's, that's the run. These numbers are going to make up our slope, right? So rise over run, remember, is change in y values over the change in the x values, and that's how we find the slope. All right, so I'm going to just do here, let's start with the y's. All right, so let's do the -3, all right, minus, and then my second number here, my second y is -1. All right, so this isn't the easiest one with the negatives. I imagine some people might struggle with that. But then that's on top, and on bottom is our x's. So 5 minus 6. All right, I'm going to slide this over and try to center up a little bit better. All right, so -3 minus -1. Let's put an equal sign in here. Let's simplify that. So -3 minus -1, that'd be the same as -3 plus 1. That's actually -2. If you're struggling with any of that, I would just suggest using a calculator. But -3 minus -1 is -2. 5 minus 6 then on bottom is -1. Right? So let's put the fraction bar back in there. Let's get another equal sign here. And let's simplify that one more time. If you're using a calculator, it's probably just going to do that for you. And it probably wouldn't hurt just to use a calculator. You might not be able to use just a standard calculator. So standard calculator might not be great for putting in like minus and negative, but I would suggest the Desmos scientific calculator. It's a good one to use for this. If you're struggling with doing any of these problems, it'd be pretty straightforward. -3 minus -1, easily right there. Might even be able to put in as a fraction here to solve the whole thing all at once. Let's give that a try. -3 minus -1 on top, and then we had what, 5 minus 6 on bottom. All right, and then I'll give you the slope of 2. So maybe you can simplify things a little bit using desmos.com/scientific calculator to get things done a little more quickly. All right, so this time, like you guys just saw, our slope is +2. -2 divided by -1 is +2, so that would be our slope here. Next one, again, rise over run. Let's start with the 2 minus 5 on top. So now I have -4 minus -3 on bottom. I'll put a line in here, show that's a fraction. I like that being centered up a little bit better. Let's simplify this guy a little bit. 2 minus 5 on top, that's -3. On bottom, -4 minus -3. That'd be the same as -4 plus 3, so that's going to be -1. Again, I'm going to put this fraction bar in here. Another equal sign. Whoops. Equal sign. -3 divided by -1 is +3. All right. Do maybe a couple more here. Maybe let's pick some different numbers this time. It doesn't really matter which numbers you pick from here. If you want to start with like this one and then do this one, it doesn't really matter. I would just stay consistent so you don't get mixed up about which ones you're doing. So that's what I'm going to do. But if you did pick different numbers, as long as you're doing this, this y minus this one, and then this x minus this one, it's all going to work out. But let's stick with the same ones for our purposes here. Let's do -4 minus 2, right? We're always subtracting here. And then find the difference in the x's. So that'd be 12 minus 13. And again, let's try to center that up a little bit better, make it a little neater. Let's get an equal sign in here and simplify this guy. So -4 minus 2 is -6. 12 minus 13 is -1. All right, let's pretty it up a little bit here. Equal sign. -6 divided by -1 is +6. This time our slope would be 6. All right. You might also just be able to tell here as we are going to the right 1, this is increasing by 6. As we go to the right 1 here, this increases by 6. As we go to the one to the right here, this goes up by 6. All right. All right. Let's do one more here and call it a day, I think. So this time the y's first, right? -5 minus -6. Put that in parentheses so we don't get confused. -6. And on bottom, 5 minus 6. Let's try to move that over a little bit. Our line in there so we can tell that's a fraction, right? This is a ratio. Whoops. Wouldn't hurt anything. Let's get that out of there. All right. Equal sign. And let's simplify this guy. -5 minus -6. That'd be the same as -5 plus 6. So this time that would be +1. And then in the bottom, 5 minus 6 is -1. All right, so let's get our fraction bar in here. Let's get our equal sign and simplify that one more time. So 1 divided by -1 is -1. This time our slope is -1. All right, so we can have negative from the table as well, but pretty straightforward. Not too bad this week, guys. If you have questions, definitely check with your teacher, get some help. Go to office hours, messages, all that good stuff. But please make sure you guys are getting these done. Even by the due date would be great. I think this week you should even have some time to finish up some of those old assignments. All right, so this week, 2 assignments in Khan Academy, 1 on quizzes. So just make sure you guys are getting all that done, and definitely check in with your teachers. If you have any questions, need any help, hit up those office hours. All right, guys. Thank you so much.